guys, welcome back to our podcast where we talk about the truth behind working in social media and all things in between.
If you don't know who we are, we're just two girlies who run a social media agency. This week is a very exciting week. We've had such a manic week.
It has been chaos.
But
so busy.
in a good way.
Yeah, guys, we go to Ibiza on Monday. So when we're filming this podcast, we basically go to Ibiza in 2 days.
2 days, we're so prepared.
Are we?
You are.
Am I? I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
do you know when it's really messy in your room and you tell someone it's an organised mess? That's what I feel like.
Yeah.
Like, I know what I'm doing, but it's still chaotic.
Yeah. It'll all come together on Sunday evening, won't it?
Literally Sunday evening. It's been exciting, but it's been heavy.
Yeah. I mean, compared to last week, it wasn't last week, it was a few weeks ago, we were saying like it was a bit of a lull week, but we prefer on the go 24/7.
Yeah, that is true.
We work.
And we're saying we're going to Ibiza, but it's going to be chaotic. We're going to need a holiday after the holiday.
No, we really are. It's not like your normal Ibiza holiday. It's a business trip, and we're going to be 24/7 taking photos and videos.
Yeah.
Like
We've
the
got
whole trip.
a lot of content to get.
Yeah, you should see the pages of content we've got planned. It's a joke. I don't want to think about it, but we're just going to roll with it. I'm sure it'll be fun.
Yeah, and we've got one beach club booked.
Yeah. One beach club to just enjoy ourselves.
This is what's so fun about this job, that like we can be at that beach club, sat on a sunbed in the sun, and be editing videos and like still be working.
See, that is the dream. Like, this is the dream.
Literally, like, we need to be more grateful.
It's like a lot of the time you don't really like, because we're so on the go and like always working, I never think about how good it is.
Yeah. It happened to be the other day, like going on to our highs of the week when I was getting my pedicure, and she was like painting my toenails and I was sat editing content for a client and like scheduling. And I was thinking like, wow, like I'm just sat here getting like pampered whilst working. Like, that is a dream life. I mean, probably not for everyone, but for me, absolute goals. I am my own goals. I saw a TikTok and it was like saying that if you have a burning desire in your body to like achieve something, it means that you've achieved it in the future. I thought, yeah.
That's why me and Lil have got together and we've got this close, and like we work together because we've both got this desire and we know it's gonna happen.
Yeah. And when I was really deep in it, I thought that is probably so true. Because like when you really want something and then you get it,
you're more inclined. Like, it really affects every single thing you do in your life
and like every decision. But yeah, I would say was a big high of my week this week. Like, just realising that we really can work from wherever, whenever.
Love that for you.
What's your high, Bill?
We've had like a lot of fun opportunities, just like little bits here and there, but they're things that really align with us, and it makes me really happy when we work with people that like I truly love.
Yeah, so true.
So that is my high of the week, and it genuinely brings me so much happiness when the products like get delivered. I'm like, yes, I love this for me.
Yeah, it's so true. I really like this, like, reflect on the highs and lows of the week. Coming off the back of that though, we have to keep it real. And the low, my low, and I think your low, I think it's a joint low, is the fact that we have had a good couple of inbounds this week, but some of them have just ended up ghosting us.
Yeah, there's nothing worse.
Like, what is going on?
There's nothing worse. If you're a business or whatever, if you're reaching out to people, just do not like blank people. It's just rude.
You know what it's like when you speak to a boy you really fancy?
It really is.
And then they ghost you. Or like they tell you that they've booked a table for 7 o'clock on Friday evening, and you're really excited for this date, and it never happens.
That's exactly how it feels. Exactly how it feels, guys, honestly.
Literally. That's something that I think I need to work on. Like, not everything
is meant to be.
Yeah, or like if somebody messages, they're not necessarily going to be a client that's going to be with you for the next year.
No.
But in my head, I think they are.
I mean, that's not a bad thing though. Like, at least you're being positive about it.
Yeah.
Like,
but then when it doesn't happen, it's quite like
a letdown. Yeah, true. Moving on to the main topic of this podcast, and we're going to go into the pros and cons of influencers and UGC creators. Everything around them we're going to touch upon. By no means are we experts. We're not influencer marketers. However, we obviously do work in social media, and we work in it full time, and we own an agency, so we know a lot about it. But we are not like full experts.
Yeah.
So So yeah, just remember that.
There's been a huge shift between influencers and UGC and content creators, and so many names for so many different people now.
So many names.
But I feel like it's really current, and the shift is like still happening. At the beginning of last year, UGC wasn't a huge thing here in the UK anyway.
No.
Like it wasn't, brands weren't like using it massively. It wasn't really a known thing. Whereas in the last 12 months, the shift has been crazy. And obviously we're seeing a lot of brands and businesses now using UGC rather than using an influencer, which I think is wild.
It's interesting and it's really fun because I like something that's new and
Yeah.
current. Like a year ago, I was looking into it myself, and like there was literally hardly anyone on TikTok talking about it from the UK. They were all from the US, and I was thinking, okay, what's happening? And now, fast forward a year, it's really blown up, and it's quite interesting. I like it.
Do you think that it would be easier, like not even from a brand's perspective, like we're not talking using it in brands at the minute, we're talking like if you are a UGC creator, if you want to be an influencer. So if you compared like two people starting out on TikTok, for example, and one was a UGC creator and one wanted to be an influencer, which one do you reckon would grow quicker now?
I think that like they both have an equal chance, but there is more of a niche in UGC at the moment because it's not as saturated. So maybe a UGC creator will have that advantage to come up, but by no means say this influencer that's like really engaging and massive. For example, like Alex Earl, like it really depends, but I'd probably lean more towards UGC creator.
Yeah, because I think that now like a lot of people would be searching as well how to become a UGC creator.
Yeah.
Because people probably like the fact that you can earn good money, not probably as big as an influencer, but you can earn a lot of good money as a UGC creator and not necessarily have like the fame
following,
or like the following. And people will like that because not a lot of people would love to be followed.
A UGC creator, if you don't know who they are, you probably do if you're listening to this, but it's a user-generated content creator, and they just create content for brands, and you don't need a big following. You create content for them for the brands to then use on their platforms.
Do you know what's really interesting though?
What?
So it's not like if you blew up as a UGC creator, do you become an influencer?
No, this is such a weird one, isn't it? Because probably, yeah.
Because I follow UGC creators, like quite a lot of them,
Yeah.
and they're now blowing up because everyone obviously is following them because they want to be like them, and that means you are influencing people, and they are then getting brand deals, and they're doing paid ads like an influencer would, but they're still a UGC creator. And I've also seen it on the flip side. I've seen some smaller influencers now change the bios saying UGC creator, and a lot of UGC creators don't like that.
Yeah, they don't.
But it's like a really fine line, like where is that, and when do you change from one to the other?
You know what I think it is? I think it's the fact that a UGC creator, it is creating content for other brands, but if you think about it in terms of like, they are just as similar as like an influencer, like in the sense that if you're posting fashion content, this other person is just posting content about a job that they're doing.
From a brand's perspective,
Yeah.
if you hire a UGC creator, you're doing it because you want an everyday person, you want a normal face, you want someone who's going to be relatable to your brand. If that said person had a following of 100,000 people and they had a big platform, they're not your average everyday person.
Yeah.
So then would you still want them to create that user-generated content? Is it that authentic anymore?
I don't know her name, but the girl that's like really, really aesthetic, she's a UGC creator. I think she's probably one of the biggest in the UK. She's got like white everywhere.
feed, yeah. I know who you're talking about. Oh, I don't know her name.
Yeah. Anyway, there's this girl. We'll pop it in the description.
In the description, yeah.
But she's got a big following now. But I wouldn't necessarily say she's an influencer. She's more like...
Inspiring.
Yeah, maybe inspiring. And like, I think brands would still like to work with her because of her style of content.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
so it's
true.
a bit of a hard one.
Because I suppose when you're an influencer, this is a little bit controversial.
Go on.
But when you're creating your content as an influencer, I would say it was easier than when you're creating user-generated content, because you don't have to really create a video with loads of different angles and think about, like, I'm trying to think of an example. For example, if it was for a shampoo, if you were a user-generated content creator, you're probably more likely to try and get really aesthetic photos of the bottle. So like putting it in like a bath and you're getting bubbles on it, and you're spending a lot of time getting these aesthetic photos. You then creating a video and you're making loads of different editing, and do you know what I mean? You're making it really interactive, and it's probably about 20 seconds, 30 seconds. Whereas an influencer would probably just wash the hair with the shampoo, film little clips of it, and put it on the story.
Yeah. What are you trying to say? I think that's because they've got an advantage in the fact that they know that it's gonna do well because they've probably got a bigger following. So it probably just comes down to like the following aspect. UGC creator, for example, that's their job, so they spend a lot of time like perfecting, getting like aesthetic clips of products.
Whereas compared to an influencer, I suppose they don't need to try as hard. It's controversial, isn't it? There'll be a lot of influencers out there that will spend hours filming an ad, and they'll put a lot of effort into it, and I'm not disputing what influencers do, because I imagine it's hard. Well, I know it'll be hard work because we create content. We're not influencers, but we create content for brands, and it's not easy. Like, people think it is, and it's not. So I'm not disputing that, but I just feel like as a UGC creator, you'll feel more pressure to get it to look perfect.
Swings and roundabouts, isn't there? Like, I'd say it's probably a bit equal in my opinion in like how much time they spend. Like, I don't know. It depends on how big you are for one, and depends how much money you have realistically.
Yeah, it is true. So obviously that's more like comparing just the creators in themselves. Whereas let's touch upon how brands use them now, and how like different brands are using UGC over influencers and vice versa. Because there is a lot of brands still that are using just influencers.
Yeah, that is the case, and I think it's more so the case with potentially bigger brands.
Yeah.
Because budget is capable of obviously supplying these influencers. It's a really good up and coming thing for smaller brands to have the opportunity to work with creators and get that like humanized part of the brand, because a lot of like, I don't know, really small businesses, for example, the founder doesn't necessarily want to be the face of the brand all the time. So it's nice that they can now have that as well for a cheaper price point.
Saying that, like, brands like Refi,
they're
using normal people.
Yeah.
I think it just kind of connects the audience more. It is a topic that we could literally sit here and talk about all day, because influencers nowadays know that they can't promote something that's not genuine.
Yeah, 100%. And I think it's such a good shift. Like, we were saying, I don't know when we were talking about this, but I scroll past any sort of ad by an influencer, like, no matter what it is, especially in YouTube videos. Like, if they say, this part of the video is sponsored by XYZ, that's it, I'm skipping it no matter what it is, because I'm just like, I actually can't be bothered to listen to it.
Which is really weird, because I would watch it.
Yeah.
I would only watch it with certain creators. So, like, people who I would really follow, then I'd watch it. Or if it's a HelloFresh ad, I'll skip past it, because I just think, I don't care what you're cooking. I've tried HelloFresh, I liked it, I know I like it, so I'm not going to watch it. Whereas if it was a creator who's maybe showing like skincare or beauty products, and they were maybe new, I'm more inclined to watch it, because I just want to know, and probably go and buy it because they've told me to, and they've told me that it's good.
Yeah, I think it's difficult. Like, nowadays, brands are not using influencers as much for paid ads. I mean, I could be wrong there, but I feel like they don't come across as genuine anymore, and I think they do need to start incorporating different ways of like getting their product out there. And I think that's one way is UGC content, but incorporating it within their strategy and not using it within like ad style videos, so it's more just it looks organic on the feed, and it's not like used, there's money put behind it, it's just used organically. I think that's a really good way.
Because a brand like UGC is a great form of content. Like most brands are probably using it now because it's more authentic. However, having said that, it's not authentic if the UGC creator doesn't match your brand. We have worked with and are working with a business creating some content for them in like a UGC format, and one of their target markets is the beauty industry, so
that's why they originally got in contact with us, because we've sort of been within that industry before.
So because we have been in the industry, we know the industry, we can create content that is authentic, and we like the beauty industry, we know a lot about it. That's why we met in a full-time social role with a beauty company, so we know the industry inside and out, so our content for that is really authentic, and it's performed really, really well. He said it was like the top performing one. However, he then approached us asking if we could create some content for an automotive, like a car sales target audience, and we were really honest, because at the end of the day, us on a car ad, it's not going to look as genuine as us on a beauty ad. So it's just finding the perfect fit, and someone that the target audience is going to think, oh yeah, they
just believe it straight away,
do know actually a lot about it, or it's obvious that they do own a beauty brand, or do you know what I mean, like someone that is actually going to resonate with your audience.
100%.
And it doesn't look fake, because I have seen, and there will be UGC content out there that is just forced, and it's really obvious, and that's where UGC can fall down, I think, because at the end of the day, they are ordinary people, and they are doing it as a side hustle, so they probably are going to take things that don't align with them, which an influencer maybe wouldn't nowadays. Yeah. So I have got a feeling that potentially it could do a big 360, and we'll end up buying into influencers more, because they will be so probably niche in what they end up doing, like sponsored ads for and stuff, because they're going to have to be now.
Yeah, or to be fair, alternatively, they'd just get their like approach to UGC, they'd just be stricter on who they pick. Yeah. Because like I think Refi, again, I know we're touching on Refi, but they smash it, like they've really smashed it with who they pick. Especially like an influencer, you already know their target audience, whereas like UGC content creators, you don't know who they can align with and who they, like what industries they know the best. But for example, like one of our clients has sent us a product to try before, which I think is something new, because normally you'd send a product to an influencer to try before.
Yeah.
But now like brands are sending them out to UGC creators to try before, which is nice. Like I think that's a good way to do it. I think like maybe it's a longer process for brands, but it's definitely worth it in the end.
Stat that says that UGC is 8.7 times more powerful than influencer content.
Isn't that wild?
Get it? I completely get it. And that's where the shift has happened. That's literally what we've just been talking about. And I get it because it's more authentic and whatever. But it's more powerful. So I've just said 8.7 times more powerful than influencers. But it says it's also 6.6 times more influential than branded content. If you look at them two statistics, so 8.2 times more powerful than influencers and 6.6 times more powerful than branded. If you take them separately and you look at UGC compared to branded, there's still more people buying into the UGC than there is the branded, but there's still a lot of people buying into that branded. In comparison to UGC and influencers, there's a lot more people buying into UGC and not influencers. So that shows that your branded content is still influential. But it just proves that having like a strong brand image and still promoting your product is still something that you need to push.
100%. Yeah. You need the groundwork, because imagine like an influencer like just promoting a product that doesn't even have an Instagram account itself. Like you need a strong marketing campaign, because for example like like Rode, their marketing campaign is strong enough without influencers. So influencers aren't always the answer.
It's weird, but it's true.
Yeah.
It's just interesting how marketing and UGC and influencers and everything is so like everyone does it differently, and how we consume it is so different. Like Hailey Bieber is obviously an influencer, Rode, whatever, and when she posted the like sneak peek of the phone case with the blush, she hit 2 new products in one photo. She's an influencer, so people would be influenced by them. They would look at it and think, oh, that's cool. But she's also interestingly really used like some psychology behind that, because like if you are exposed to a product before it's launched, it's in the back of your head. So then if I was to then see a user generated ad with that phone case, even though it came from an influencer, if I was then to see a normal person in an ad with that phone case or with a Rode product, I'm more likely to click on it and buy it. But where's the influence come from? Has it come from that normal person, or has it come from her?
In that case, I'd say from her.
Yeah.
But
should we wrap up there?
yeah. Let's move on to like our funny story of the week, because you've got to finish podcast with a funny story.
Yeah, that's so true. It's my favourite time of the week, can't lie. Do need to reflect on, which is the funny story of this week, obviously, is when quite a good achievement of ours, I'd say, we went to Downton Abbey for a shoot day, which is exciting.
Yeah, so we went for like a fashion brand shoot day, and honestly, it was such a good day. Like we had such a fun day. But when we got there, oh, it was so funny. So we're sat outside and we're just waiting because we've rang them, they're not in. And this guy turns up and he's just sat there like looking at us and we're looking at him, you know, that really awkwardness. And I'm like, right, I'm gonna have to wind down my window, aren't I, and say hello. So I was like, hi, you here for the shoot day? And he was like, yeah, but you know, one of them people that are just like a little bit socially awkward.
Bit ditzy as well, like just
yeah, just ditzy.
He was a lovely guy.
Oh my god, no, he was so nice.
He was so nice.
But he was just so ditzy. And then we're just waiting, and then this lady turns up, and she was honestly like, we were living in the 1940s. Like, she was so posh. Like, it was like she was within the set of Downton Abbey.
What had happened is that we were parked. So I'd parked right at the side to let this other guy park next to me, so the road was still free up to the gate. And so this woman pulled up in a big car, and she wound down a window to obviously speak to us, to ask us why we were there. At this point, we didn't know who she was. But so we wound our window down, but obviously we couldn't speak to her because there was a car in the middle of us. And this guy was trying to put down his windows, wasn't he? But he couldn't obviously find it, so you could see it in her face. She was getting angrier and angrier.
But he was sat there for so long.
And
but
he was
flapping.
He was really flapping. And then he finally got the window down, but she was like,
who are you?
Yeah, why are you here? And we're like, oh my god, like where, like who is this woman? Anyway, she owns the place, so I would probably be like that if I owned Downton Abbey. I'd be like, what are you doing on my grounds?
Anyway, we tell her who we are, and she was like, oh fine, follow me, sorry. So we followed her in, and the guy went before us. And this ditzy guy, just because the grounds were huge, like when I tell you they were massive, they were so gorgeous.
Huge though, like it was probably a 5-minute drive to the house.
5-minute drive. And in that 5-minute drive, this guy in front was just driving a bit, not slow. I think he must have, the woman was like racing. She was a race car driver.
To be fair, if I was to have entered those grounds, obviously I was behind someone, so I'm going off them. But if I was in front, I would probably have driven a little bit slower, just because when you enter like a national park or something, that's kind of was the vibe. So you do drive a little bit slower. But because she literally was doing about 40 miles per hour through her own roads, which fair enough, but he obviously didn't want to do that. But then we lost her.
Yeah, he lost her, and then we were just there like, oh god.
And then he went the wrong way.
Yeah, he went the wrong way. Anyway, we finally found her again, and we turn up, and it was just like an experience. Like, we got out the car, and
so rewind it more. We'd been to Charlotte's mum's in the morning and picked up some deck chairs for Charlotte's balcony. So they were in my car, so I've only got a Mini. So the car was full to the brim.
Like really full.
It looked like we'd brought our life with us. And this guy and woman was stood there, and he was like, "Oh, what have you brought with you?" Probably thinking that it was like for the shoot. So we had to really awkwardly, embarrassingly be like, "Oh, they're just some deck chairs
on my balcony." Once this woman realised who we are, she was really, really, really lovely. Like, she was nice. But it was just the initial, like...
But what made it worse was that we didn't actually know that they lived there. So we said to the guy, "God, it must have been expensive for you, like, this to be hired out." And then he was like, "Oh, no, he lives here." And we were like... But both of our faces, our jaws dropped. And then he just started laughing. And do you know when you just feel like that's embarrassing? And then the last thing that made it even worse was that we entered the castle and you weren't allowed to film in the castle or anything like that. Like, we could only film in the room that we were shooting in, and we were carrying everything up the stairs, and I fell up the stairs. My shoe came off. We'd only been there about 5 minutes, and I just thought, you can't take us anywhere.
No, it's really funny. It was
funny, but it was an experience, and to be fair, I had the best day.
Yeah,
it was so fun, and everyone was so nice. But yeah, so that's that.
We really hope you enjoyed the podcast, and we'd really appreciate it if you give us a follow, especially on Spotify, and subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can see us in the flesh.
Make sure to stay tuned, because especially if you're listening on YouTube, or even if you're listening on Spotify, you can head over to our YouTube, because we will have our Ibiza vlog going out, which is our first vlog, which is exciting, and it'll be basically just behind the scenes of our first business trip. So see you there. And also, of course, we will have tips and tricks on Thursday.
Yeah, don't miss them.
But yeah,
see you later, guys. Bye.